Hello, everybody. Got some crazy hairs today. Yes, I cannot believe it. Today is day 26 of my 30-day challenge. And it'll be interesting because the internet and everything's working interestingly today for me. um, but yeah, and today's topic is a pretty heavy one, but it's a fantastic one. One that I believe everybody's been pushed in that direction. So, what is shadow work? What I understand to be shadow work, and this is what I do pretty much all the time. It sounds mysterious and dark. It can be, I guess. But really, it's paying attention to yourself and your belief systems. So when something doesn't sit right within you and you just can't seem to shake it and you don't know what it is, but you're in a funk and something's happening, that's time to go delving in and finding out what's up. Um, so we as human beings all have the same abilities, same psyche. We have, of course, we have our own differences and everything, but we have the same hardware and software in essence. Um, we all have our urges. We all have our ways of being in the world. We all have our the things we love, the things we dislike, and we all have our points of views and judgments on all of those things. And it all depends on how we were raised. Our language is a big deal too because it has its own little point of view. That's why I love languages. It's crazy that I can still speak Spanish, but someone from a different Spanish speaking country has a very different culture than I do. Um, and again, cultures again, belief systems. What do we ascribe as good? What do we ascribe as bad? Um, of course, there are the main ideas of thou shalt not kill. Pretty bad one. Stealing's not good for you either. But there are other ones that become interesting in the body and how we react to them. So with my own shadow work, how I approach it is I go through life. I'm always, cheery, whatever. But when I have these moments of like something is rubbing me the wrong way, I don't know what it is, but I'm going to find out what it is. And I'm just going to sit with this for a second. With the way that I have been trained with Access Consciousness, Theta Healing, Reiki, yoga, all these fantastic books that I've read, but specifically with Theta Healing, they have a set of questions. First, you get into the meditation so that you can be quiet and really listen to the heart of the matter. Because the ego is a sweet little voice that likes to get sometimes in the way, and it's very frantic and very like, but I didn't do anything. But was it wrong? I don't know. I'm afraid, that type of thing. So when I do the work that I do on my own, on my shadow work, I'm quiet. I sit in peace, and I really ground to Mother Earth, and I ground up to my Creator. And that's when I start asking the questions. So usually I'll find out that I'm annoyed at something. Take for today, for example. I noticed that I was upset with the general population around me, my own family. But I know that they're not at fault. This is my issue, and I'm trying to figure out what it is. So then I'll be like, okay, so what's the worst thing? This is a fun question. What's the worst thing about me being upset at my family or my kids or my husband, whatever, just annoyed, that genuine, just kind of like, just dis-ease. What's the worst thing about me being upset with them when they haven't done anything really? And I realize it's like, okay, well, if I'm upset with them, they're going to stop caring about me. So I can't be upset with them because if I'm upset with them, they'll stop caring about me. What's the worst thing about them stop caring about me? And again, I'm just showing you an example, personal example. I'm being very real right now so you guys can see how I do it and how there's no wrong way of doing it, and how it's a very real fear it's perceived, because fear is, again, anything that you perceive as something that affects you in the that you're gonna that creates the fear in your life. Obviously, I'm thinking about what's the next question. And see, it's really interesting. That's another thing to watch for. When you start kind of trying to get away from the subject, that means you're scared to go there. It's like when you get bumped and you know it's going to be painful wherever you got bumped. So you're trying not to touch it again. So what I'm doing right now is emotionally looking for that bump so I can look at it and then heal it, let it go. But of course, getting close to it, it's like, oh, I don't want to go there. So that's why it gets interesting. This is why and I'm in full observation mode of myself. So what's the worst thing about my family? Not they stop caring about me because I get angry at them. Well, if they stop caring about me, I'm gonna be alone. What's the worst thing about me being alone? Well, it'd be very painful. It would be very lonely for me. I would feel, um, I don't even know. I would say that that's my bottom belief there. What's the worst thing about being alone? I will never be loved. And what's the worst thing about that? Death. But no, I'm not afraid of death. I know that already. So it's not death. It's I'm afraid of being alone and not loved. So by looking at that, and then what's interesting is then you start finding out, well, what did I get from that notion, that program of, if I get angry at my family, they'll stop loving me and I'll be alone. Well, I get what it feels like to be angry with them. I get the drama of it all. But then you take it a step higher and you're like, well, what did I learn from that? Well, usually you learn perseverance, strength, because what we do is we end up looking for ways to overcome that by, well, creating more relationships or creating hobbies or learning how to love in spite of the anger. So there's all these beautiful virtues that we get along the way from that drama of creating that separation and whatever that program created. And then you just take it a step further and you would get in touch with your highest of highest parts of yourself. So this is where I say you talk to God, basically. And you ask, well, what did you want me to learn from this? And usually it's one of those answers that is just pure love, absolutely pure love. The answer I got when I went into my meditation was, there's no such thing as you not being loved. And there's no such thing as you being alone. You're part of everything. You are loved and you're completely supported in everything you do. In that instant, just by doing that shadow work and finding out why was I annoyed, I was able to be reminded that I am not alone and like there's no such thing. This is creation itself. We're all in it. We're never going to be separate and we're never really going to be alone. We create that reality in ourselves. As soon as we start thinking that we're separate, that's when we create it. So it gets really interesting at that level. But what's really cool is once you do that shadow work, once you look at what causes the fears in you, you send extra love in that way, you can finally release that. Release again. I'm basically talking to myself, I guess. I have been able to finally release that. And what's really funny, it'll come back in little cycles, and that's okay. What I've learned to do when it comes back in cycles and I feel like I can't shake it, then I know I'm just supposed to sit in it for a little bit. Something magical will come out of it. And usually it does. I get even more love and more reminders of, you know what, this life is absolutely beautiful and miraculous. And even if I don't, it's okay to sit in it for a little bit. That's the beauty of being in a human body. You're going to have your experiences, the full spectrum of life here on this planet for this very temporary experience. But what's really cool is the more you release that shadow, and it is funny, we call it shadow because those are the things that we don't want to look at. We don't want to seem like we're bad people, but we are. Again, human beings. Anger is part of it all. It's there. We are wired to have all the emotions. We are wired for sadness. This is how we communicate and how we do the whole social interaction. This is what I love about autism too, because it's brought it to my attention that it's different in each, with at least with them, it just makes you wonder why the emotions, how you can have them, but then navigate them so they don't have to hijack you. You can honor yourself in each and every moment. And let's just remember that without light, we need darkness for the light. There is such a thing as sacred darkness. I remember someone telling me, and just reminding me of, when a child's in the womb, they're in darkness that whole 40 weeks. Sacred darkness, right? They're developing. The sacred darkness of Mother Earth. We always think that those dark moments are the ones that we don't prefer, but there's a lot of beauty and growth that comes from them as well. So it's a good thing to honor that for ourselves. So again, shadow work is just a way of cleansing that out for yourself, and then just coming to another level, like molting. We reach a certain level that we're uncomfortable. We're like, pay attention to it. Don't put it away, because that's the worst thing you can do. It's very Freudian, right? All of those manias are going to come somewhere else. This is the fun thing about psychology when you start reading up. And again, my kids have taught me so much. And my mom. And then when you start repressing certain parts of yourself, guess what? That's going to come out somewhere else. It's going to come out. So it's better to just look at it lovingly, accepting everything about you, and then being able to move forward. So I highly recommend shadow work for everybody. Again, you'll feel more peaceful. You'll be nicer to everybody around you because you're being responsible for your own stuff and cleaning your own side of the street. And I mean everybody, even the ones that were like, I'm a pretty good person. It's not about being a good person or not. It's about you feeling at peace with what you're exploring and what you're doing in this lifetime, so that you can create from a place of love and light, and or from wherever you want to create, right? It doesn't have to be that. Obviously, it's your experience. This is the beauty of free will, and we all have our choices of creating the life we want to create. But as more of us are waking up to realizing that this is a world, humanity needs each other beyond borders, beyond ethnicities, beyond, we need to really honor all of that and encompass all of that. So we don't separate anybody. We keep our own cultures, which is a lot of fun. That's the part of the joy, but we bring the party together. And it's not like, we separate each other in that regard. So I am hoping this is of service today. By the way, this is what I do with my clients. We just find out what you're ready to let go. So of course, if you're interested, you can go check my website out, innerpeacebroker.com. And if you missed a live today, go ahead and check out my YouTube channel. All the videos are there from day 1 all the way to day 26 today. And yeah, if you have any questions or comments, please leave them there. I'd love to continue conversations with people. May this all be of service. I'm sending you all so much love and light, and I will catch you tomorrow for day 27 of the 30-day challenge. God bless y'all. Bye.